Saluting the 1995 Grey Cup in a very special way from CFP Moose Jaw. They are on their way. Here they come, headed for Taylorfield, the Snowbirds. Ladies and gentlemen, if you would, please direct your attention to the center of Taylorfield for the all-important coin toss ceremony. Please welcome the president of the 1995 Grey Cup Organizing Committee, Regina's own Bob Eller, and the team reps, Alan Pitts and Matt Finley for the Calgary Stampeders, Gerald Bayless for the Baltimore Stallions. And referee Dave Yule, it's all yours.
Who's going to call it?
I will call it.
In the air, please. This is, the cup is a head, the writing is a tail.
Right.
Call it in the air, please.
Head.
Heads he calls. Heads it is.
That's right.
You'd have your choice this half or the next half. You'll defer to the next half. You will defend that in.
There you go.
You will receive. Over here. Turn around, guys. Calgary receives. Have a good game, gentlemen.
So the kickoff is at 33 past the hour. That means we're down now to 3 minutes before the Stallions and Stampeders begin the battle for the 83rd Grey Cup Championship at Taylorfield in Regina. Well, Saskatchewan's done all it can to make the week a success. Now the Grey Cup's in the hands of the players. 55,000 watching here, millions more in our audience. There's nothing left to say except game on. Here are Don and Dan.
Thank you, Scott. Hi, everybody. Two of the most experienced coaches in the CFL as far as Grey Cup experience is concerned. Don Matthews has been to a Grey Cup 9 times. He has 6 wins, 5 as an assistant coach in Edmonton and as a head coach with the BC Lions. Over on the other side of the field, Wally Buono has been to 5 Grey Cup games. He was there as a player, winning in 1977, and of course in 1992. He led the Stampeders to a Grey Cup win over the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Despite the fact his team was 15-3 in each of the next 2 seasons, he failed to qualify for the big game, losing the final in each of the past 2 years. But this year his team knocked off the Edmonton Eskimos, and here they are against the Baltimore Stallions as the 1995 Grey Cup game at Taylorfield gets underway. Carlos Huerta kicking off. Tony Stewart waits for the ball at the 25-yard line. Tony Stewart runs into a couple of his own players and is stopped at the 40, but pretty good field position for the Calgary Stampeders for their first offensive series, a 15-yard return. A very focused Doug Flutie in preparing for this game. He feels that he has been given a new lease on life, simply being able to play the final few games of the season. Most thought that his career was over when he had elbow surgery on the 5th of September. But here he is directing the attack for the Calgary Stampeders, and he is operating out of the shotgun formation. He throws over the middle. Sapunjas is open, and Dave Sapunjas on the first play of the game has a Calgary first down.
Doing the kind of things that Dave Sapunjas does so well, finding the open area in the zone, sitting down.
Rocco Romano is the veteran of the Calgary offensive line. He has moved from guard to tackle, and this line will have a big task ahead, opening up some holes for the running back, Tony Stewart, but more importantly, protecting the passer, Doug Flutie, and Tyrone Williams, who is in the game as a starter, replacing the injured Pee Wee Smith, who could have a big day this afternoon.
Well, last week, this Calgary offensive line played their most physical 60 minutes. They will need to do that again today.
The handoff to Tony Stewart, no running room. Alfred Payton was there to make the tackle. Alfred Payton, number 56, playing in his 4th consecutive Grey Cup, but he does not want the dubious distinction of being on 4 consecutive losers. He lost twice with Winnipeg. Grant Carter, playing the defensive end position, has played strong football for the Stallions over the last few weeks. O.J. Brigance has never missed a football game since turning professional. Ken Watson could be a key man in the secondary today for Baltimore. Flutie over the middle. He was looking for Sapunjas, incomplete. O.J. Brigance, the middle linebacker, had dropped back to defend. There's a penalty flag on the play.
O.J. Brigance does a great job of patrolling the middle. Great linebacker that started in the CFL as a rush defensive end with the BC Lions, moved to the middle.
Unnecessary roughness. After the play, 59 Calgary. 15 yards, it's 3rd down.
Rocco Romano guilty of the unnecessary roughness.
They get matched up. Rocco Romano against Carter. Couple of pushes up into the face. The cut after the fact. Then there comes the penalty as the piling on took place, and they hit Rocco with the 15 yards.
You talked about O.J. Brigance in the middle. He was able to move back to the middle because of the development of Grant Carter as a defensive end.
Grant Carter has come into this Baltimore lineup and just established himself as a dominant factor on the defense.
Martino will be kicking with the wind at his back. Pressure coming up the middle. He is trying to angle it to the sidelines, and Chris Wright will field it at the 28. He breaks the first tackle, and Chris Wright, who has the ability to go all the way, could take it to the end zone. They were concerned about the special team play of the Baltimore Stallions, and Chris Wright, who ran 3 back for touchdowns this year, takes the first punt by Martino, 82 yards for the major score.
Great effort by the rookie. He inspires this complete team, as far as the return team, to get down there, make a block. Everyone knows if I get and do my responsibility, the man that just took the reception of the ball can get it into the end zone, and he does exactly that.
And he celebrates with an end zone flip after his first Grey Cup touchdown, and the Baltimore Stallions have a 6-0 lead with Carlos Huerta preparing to add the point after. A rather startling turn of events for the Calgary Stampeders on their first punt of the football game. Their game plan was to try and kick away from Chris Wright. They know his return capabilities, and he took it 82 yards for the major score.
And more importantly, Whit, this score was against the win. So when you can score points against this win in Regina, it is a plus. Look at that. Nobody's around. He makes the seam, and that great bursting speed of his allows him just to outrun anybody that is pursuing. Gets into the end zone completely untouched.
Well, they talk about the speed of Baltimore on special teams. This may be the fastest man on the Baltimore roster, Chris Wright, who on most teams in the Canadian Football League could probably occupy a job as a tailback.
Well, he certainly can, and that's what he enables the depth of the Baltimore team to have. They can have guys in the backfield, interchange them along with Drummond, and they along also with Mike Pringle. These guys all can get the job done.
You think he might be sending a message? He was disappointed that he was not named Rookie of the Year the other night. That honor went to Shalon Baker of the Edmonton Eskimos. There were many people who thought that Chris Wright, with his all-purpose yards this year for the Stallions, should have received that recognition. And this is another return specialist and the ball is fumbled. It comes loose, and Tony Stewart has lost it at the 47-yard line, and Wally Buono has to be shaking his head and wondering what is happening in the early stages of this 95 Grey Cup game.
Some very serious pregame jitters that have been very costly for the Calgary Stampeders. Tony Stewart has had a history of coughing the ball up. Wally Buono during midseason had a very big heart-to-heart, man-to-man talk to him and told him the facts. Either you hold on to the ball or you're not going to be on this ball club.
17 yards on the return before he lost it. Baltimore takes over, 1st and 10 from the 48-yard line, and this is Pringle. He breaks the first tackle, and he spins his way for a gain of about 8. And this is what Calgary did not want to get into, Dan. 2nd and short situations. They didn't want Pringle running for 6 or 7 yards on 1st down. Tracy Ham, the quarterback for the Baltimore Stallions. And Tracy Ham has Mike Pringle to hand off to, but he can also beat you with his running. Twice as a member of the Edmonton Eskimos, he had back-to-back 1,000-yard rushing seasons. The next year, he was just 2 yards shy of a 1,000-yard season. But when it works, give it to the man who can lug the ball, and this is Mike Pringle as he picks up a Baltimore 1st down. Here at Taylor Field, Dan, I think this is probably reminiscent of the Ron Lancaster, George Reed era. Give the ball to number 34.
Well, when you've got a guy in the backfield that does the things that this man, Mike Pringle, is capable of doing, why try to fight it? Give it to him. Let that big offensive line work up front. This guy picks you up 6 or 7 yards every time he touches the ball. It opens up big options, 2nd and short.
When Pringle runs for 100 yards, the Stallions are 17 and 1. Pass on the sideline, they're ruling no catch. It was intended for Robert Clark. It will be 2nd and 10 for Baltimore. There are people who feel, Dan, that if Tracy Ham is going to beat you, you want him to beat you trying to throw the ball rather than running with the football or handing off to Pringle.
Well, I think they know right now that Mike Pringle, if he is successful, if he can get 100 yards, it opens up a whole repertoire of Tracy Ham. If you're able to curtail some of that stuff that Mike Pringle can do, slow it down, you're not going to stop it. Put the ball into Tracy's hands and have him make big plays, you have a chance of winning the ball game.
On 2nd and 10, Ham is under some pressure. He escapes, throws, incomplete. It was Clark again, and that's 2 that have gone to Clark that he has had difficulty hanging on to. Now, is he having problems, or is the ball in the wind maybe fluttering a bit?
Well, the ball may be moving a little bit, but that's still the receivers. He's a professional. You've got to concentrate, and you've got to even more emphasize your concentration on the point of the ball as you're looking it in. Tracy Ham, that's the other dimension that he adds to put a lot of stress on the defense. As he scrambles out of the pockets, his receivers start to work to the open area. Instead of running the ball, Tracy has gotten a lot smarter. He can do both. Now he will look to throw the ball first, then to run.
Where they had problems from 37 yards in warm-up, and they don't even get this kick away because the exchange from center is bobbled, and a big turnover with the Calgary Stampeders. Al Jordan scooping up the loose ball. You know, there were some people who questioned the decision to stage the 83rd Grey Cup Championship in Regina. Now some of those same skeptics are saying, when are they going to bring it back?
Little low snap. And Crowley has a hard time fielding that ball. Covers it up very smartly. Ray Biggs jumps on him quickly. Good turnover. Could cause a little momentum swing for the Calgary Stampeders. Doug Flutie has to be able to score some points going with the win now.
10:22, the time remaining in the opening quarter. Wally Buono was saying that in the 2 games these 2 teams have played, once in each of the past 2 seasons, Flutie has been able to throw the football to his wideouts in particular, and this is Terry Vaughn. And Vaughn has a 1st down, taking it inside the 50 of Baltimore.
Don, a lot of defensive teams, what they want to do is try to condense the field down and really plug it up inside and take away some pinches and pits. That leaves the wideouts open. Terry Vaughn and now also Tyrone Williams on the other side. It's imperative that they get open, and Doug Flutie has the time and, more importantly, the arm strength to get the ball there.
Flutie operates out of the shotgun over the middle to Tony Stewart, and Stewart is going to be stopped at about the 41-yard line, but that will be a pickup of about 8 yards. O.J. Brigance came in to make the tackle.
Now what's going to happen? Doug Flutie makes a quick read as Tony Stewart comes out of the backfield, checks the linebacker, zone coverage, just a little bit of a flare, a release pattern, safety valve, dumps it off quickly, picks up about 8 yards, and this is the kind of situation that Doug Flutie likes to get in also, 2nd and short.
And Calgary sends in its short yardage offense, trailing by a score of 7-0 after the spectacular 82-yard punt return. This is Stewart, and Stewart should have the first down. It looked as though he penetrated to about the 38-yard line of Baltimore before being driven back. Is just outside the 38-yard line. It is 1st and 10. 3 receivers wide to the left. Flutie operating from the shotgun. Flutie looks over the middle, finds Stewart again. And Doug Flutie was telling us when we had a conversation with him on Thursday morning, Dan, that Tony Stewart could play a role in this game. Little swing passes out of the backfield, but he is finding Stewart over the middle.
I think what's more important, Don, is the fact that after the fumble on that kickoff, Tony Stewart was down on himself. You saw his head drop down. He's going to him right now to build back the confidence in Tony Stewart.
1st and 10, the fake inside to Stewart. Now Flutie throws deep for Sapunjas, and he got turned around. He was being covered by Anthony, and Sapunjas, who was named the outstanding Canadian in the CFL on Thursday night, got turned around as he was running the corner pattern.
Good coverage by Charles Anthony to the inside. The ball is thrown to the outside shoulder of Dave Sapunjas. He's just unable to make that adjustment. The ball was thrown way past the outstretched hands of number 25.
Ken Benson comes into the ball game, and Gerald Bayless goes out. Again, out of the shotgun. Flutie is forced to step out. Now Flutie is in some trouble. He throws into the end zone. Jump ball, and it's well over the head of Pitts. Douglas Kraft, the corner, had dropped back with him, but Flutie was flushed out of the pocket. And Alfred Payton was saying that one thing he always had to be cautious of in his rush was making sure he contained Flutie.
Well, that's the thing you have to do, and Alfred Payton is used to coming off the corner extremely hard, getting in the quarterback space extremely quickly. But what he needed to do was come up the field, have some containment, make sure that he had Doug Flutie go up the field, in front of him, back toward the pocket, then close it down.
Mark McLaughlin, 220 points on the regular season. The 6th time in his career he has been over 200 points from 35 yards out, and this is good. So with 7:41 remaining in the opening quarter here at Taylor Field, it's the Stallions by 4. Well, the fans who are in attendance at Taylor Field are bundled up against the elements, but it's not the cold that's the problem today, it's the wind.
There's a lot of intensity right in the middle of the line. There's Maxey going one-on-one against Bobby Pandolita. Good right under the uppercut. Denny Chronopoulos comes over to take a little bit of shot just to protect his teammate. There's a lot of friction here between these two.
Baltimore opting to scrimmage 1st and 10 from the 35 after the field goal by McLaughlin. A handoff to Pringle. Pringle trying to get to the outside, and he's forced out of bounds. Alondra Johnson came across to force him out.
This is what this Calgary defense has to do to give themselves an opportunity. Get Pringle running horizontal along the line of scrimmage. Stretch him out. Do not let him hit the seam and get the ball up the field.
Well, that's Calgary's style of defense, stretching things laterally. Pickup of 3 for Pringle. This is 2nd and 7. Tracy Ham drops back, having problems finding a receiver. Ham's in trouble. Pass is incomplete. Gerald Alphen was the receiver on the sidelines that Ham was trying to throw to, but Dan, it's most difficult running to your left to throw accurately, and that's what Calgary is trying to do. If Ham's going to run, force him to roll to his left and throw.
Even the best athletes have trouble throwing the ball like this. Big Daddy Marvin Pope does a good job closing it down, staying outside of containment. Gerald Alphen, the new addition to this Baltimore Stallion offense, comes in, tries to make the cut, just does not keep his feet up underneath him.
First punt of the game by Miller. Usually he hits the ball very high. This is a line drive type of kick. And Vaughn is down at the 37-yard line. That's where Calgary will scrimmage 1st and 10.
Well, before this game began, there was a great deal of talk about the wind. If anything, the wind appears to have died just a little bit. Maybe it has something to do with the 55,000 people in the stadium. It's more of a swirling type of wind than it was before kickoff. Don?
Doug Flutie continuing to operate from the shotgun. He drills it to Dave Sapunjas. This will be a gain of about 5. Matt Goodwin made the tackle.
Dave Sapunjas showing his forte of what he is so well at doing. Finding again the open area of the zone, sitting down, maneuvering away from the linebackers, Goodwin and also O.J. Brigance, making a good concentrated catch.
They credit him with a gain of 6. It will be 2nd and 4 Calgary. The Stampeders from their own 43-yard line. Pitts was the intended receiver. Good coverage by Ken Watson.
Doug Flutie has 6 receivers across the field. He's the only guy in the backfield in the shotgun. Quick out pattern to Alan Pitts, but great closing speed by Ken Watson. Take a look as he's got a good vision to throw. Sends it outside, but Watson is there to make the defensive play.
Well, Tony Martino attempted on his first punt of the game to angle it away from Chris Wright. He returned it for a Grey Cup record 82-yard touchdown. Let's see what Martino attempts to do on his second punt of the football game with the wind at his back. This time it goes right to Chris Wright, and he is trying to use his speed to get to the outside. But a tremendous tackle by Jackie Kellogg as he tripped him up back at the 20-yard line. Yes, and Jackie Kellogg may have saved some additional problems for Calgary with that shoestring tackle of Chris Wright, because they appeared to have set the wall up to the right. But Kellogg caught Chris Wright, and it was a loss of 4 on the play. From the 20-yard line on first down, it is Pringle picking up about 3 or 4. And so far, this is the type of thing that Wally Buono wanted to do, limit his first play yardage to about 3 or 4 yards.
Look at the mobility of Alondra Johnson. His key is he's going to look at Mike Pringle, work down the line of scrimmage. When he finds the open hole, step up inside and meet the running back head on to stop him for very little yardage.
On second down, an extra defensive back comes into the ball game. The handoff goes to Pringle. Pringle gets outside Kellogg. Down the sidelines he goes, and he has a Baltimore first down, taking the ball up to the 43, forced out of bounds by Jordan. And for Mike Pringle, that is a romp of 18 yards. Defensive coordinator Frank Spaziani watching. He felt containing Mike Pringle was the big key.
Got Marvin Pope loses the containment on the inside as he takes the inside route, and that allowed Pringle to get outside.
And it's Pringle again. He tried to go wide, is forced to cut back inside and may be limited to about 1 yard. Baltimore is going to use Pringle from a variety of sets. Offensively, they're going to move him around, running much the same play, but from a number of different positions.
Big Daddy Marvin Pope against a big man, Neil Fort. Neil Fort tips the scales at 336.7. They do a great job of shutting it down and let those linebackers chase and make tackles.
From the shotgun, Ham on second down. Flips it out to Shannon, and he is going to be stopped short of a first down by Kenton Leonard. 3:34 remaining in the opening quarter here at Taylor Field with Baltimore in front 7-3.
Out of the shotgun, Shannon Skinny Culver is his nickname. Great out pattern. Tracy Ham having enough time to throw the ball on the spot. But number 30, Kenton Leonard, with great closing speed again, shuts it down before he can pick up the first down.
A line drive punt by Josh Miller on his first punt of this opening quarter into the wind. He led the CFL this year in punting average, 47.7. And this ball hangs in the wind. It's taken by Coleman, and this draws a couple of flags. No yards will be charged against Baltimore. That's one of the problems you have when the ball hangs up. The players going downfield to make the tackle get caught in that 5-yard area.
Well, it particularly does, and when this team is noted, the coverage team of Baltimore, for their great speed.
No yards. Baltimore, 15-yard penalty. First down.
It is imperative that once you get off the line of scrimmage and you use that speed to get downfield, you have to locate the football.
A lot of questions here on the sidelines about how Doug Flutie's newly mended tendon will take these cold conditions. He has stated that he has to keep his arm in motion, keep it moving, Don, so it doesn't stiffen up.
Well, he wants to keep it loose, and that was one of his concerns when he made his comeback in the final regular season game in Toronto, but he doesn't have any problems. And it is O.J. Brigance who has the interception. But are they ruling that Sapunjas had the ball and it was stolen away from him by Brigance?
O.J. Brigance just made one of the best defensive plays that you have going to see in all of '95 season, as he took the ball completely away from Dave Sapunjas. Now look how Doug Flutie stands in the pocket, drills the ball inside. Dave comes down, the knee hits, and the ball comes into the hands of O.J. Brigance. They're saying, reception, Calgary. Ball is dead. As the knee hits the left knee, O.J. Brigance took it away from him after he was down.
Gantz did a nice job of stealing it from Sapunjas, but it is a catch for the Western Ontario product. A sideline pattern for Alan Pitts. It's incomplete. It will be 2nd and 10. Alfred Payton decked Doug Flutie just as he threw.
Tremendous heat from Payton on the outside, and this is what this man does best. Little swim move, straight speed. Doug Flutie felt him coming, and as he threw the ball, sidearm and he's ducking away, the ball was off target.
Payton had 18 sacks for the Stallions this year. 2 previous Grey Cup appearances with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Out of the shotgun, 4 receivers to the left. Flutie steps up, drills it to Sapunjas. This time he hangs on, breaks the tackle of O.J. Brigance and gets an additional 4 yards. Something they are working on. The pass to Sapunjas over the middle, trying to get in behind the middle linebacker, Brigance.
And that's exactly what he did. He found O.J. O.J. took a look at Dave Sapunjas and was unable to react and come back toward the middle. Doug Flutie was able to throw that ball with great velocity down the field. Dave Sapunjas with another excellent catch.
Again, 3 receivers to the left. Flutie rolls in that direction, throws deep for Pitts, incomplete. And Watson again defending against Alan Pitts. It will be 2nd and 10 Calgary with 1:30 remaining in the opening quarter, and the Stallions in front 7-3.
Alan Pitts will get into a battle every time that he gets off the line of scrimmage. Ken Watson 1-on-1 against him. The ball goes through the hands of Alan Pitts. A catch that we would normally see being made by one of the best receivers in the CFL.
A 4-receiver set left this time as Flutie is in the shotgun. 2nd and 10 Calgary. Flutie steps up. He may take off himself. And Flutie dives through to the 25-yard line. He is going to be about 3 yards shy of a first down. Momentarily, things opened up, but then pretty good speed, closing speed by the defensive backs, limit his advance to 7.
Good coverage downfield by the Baltimore Stallions. Doug Flutie feels the heat. Now he comes up and does what he does best. Starting to run with the ball, and you can see how his feet slipped out from under him. Matt Goodwin comes by, takes a hit, makes just a small hit on the back of the hip area.
He's limping.
Doug Flutie with the helmet, and Doug felt that.
Flutie remains in the ball game to hold for Mark McLaughlin, but he is still favoring his right hip. This will be a 32-yard field goal attempt. The kick is up, and it is good. And the Stampeders, after falling behind 7-0, following the 82-yard punt return by Wright, are now within a point, but Flutie comes to the sidelines. Jeff Garcia is there to talk to him. There's athletic therapist Pat Clayton, and he is limping and appears to be in a great deal of discomfort, favoring the right hip.
Well, let's take another look at it as he slips down just at the last minute. It's the left knee of Goodwin that comes in, and it gets Doug Flutie right in the small of the back area. Take a look. Watch the knee come in. Boom, there it is. Little shot, and Doug Flutie really felt that. Pat Clayton, as you said, the trainer's taking a look at him on the sideline. Doug puts the jacket on, try to keep that arm nice and warm.
From the 35-yard line, it's 1st and 10. Swinging it out to Robert Drummond, and Drummond will be close to a first down, forced out of bounds.
Robert Drummond could be the best all-around athlete I think I have ever seen in this league in a long time. 6'3", 215, out of Syracuse, runs a 4.3 40, runs the ball extremely well, catches the ball extremely well, and can block.
But he hasn't scored a touchdown this year, which comes as a surprise when you talk about his catching abilities and his running abilities. But when they run the football, Mike Pringle is the man who gets the call most of the time. 2nd and short, and Tracy Ham calls his own number for the Baltimore first down on what should be the final play of the opening quarter here at Taylor Field in a 7-6 Grey Cup game with the Baltimore Stallions leading Calgary.
Very slow start for Calgary, a couple of miscues. Obviously, the punt return by Chris Wright is such a big thing, but then they've been able to battle back to only 1 point behind.
As one more play remaining in this first quarter. Tracy Ham inside to Pringle, and he gets about 2. Will Johnson was in on the stop for Calgary, and that is the end of the opening quarter, with Baltimore leading by a score of 7-6.
Here's to the everyday things that end up being everything. Here's to all things simple, with casual clothing and footwear from Marks.
Here in the Calgary bench, we've got an update on the injury to Doug Flutie. It is a bruised tailbone. Flutie was kicked by Ken Benson on that last tackle, but he will stay in the game, although he is still feeling a fair bit of pain. Don?
Well, that would be a blow for Calgary if Flutie is unable to continue, but as Wally Buono was saying, one advantage we do have, we have 2 proven quarterbacks. Statistically, Calgary with 81 passing yards in the opening quarter, 41 rushing yards for Baltimore, and those numbers are pretty much following what everyone expected in this game. The punt return, the difference right now with Chris Wright taking it 82 yards, a Grey Cup record for the major score, the first time that Tony Martino kicked it away.
And the majority of those rushing yards by Mike Pringle, who only had 33 yards in their last meeting that Baltimore lost in Calgary.
Stampeders against the run this year have given up a meager 55 yards per game. This ball is live. This is a live ball picked up by the Stampeders' Will Johnson, and he's going to go the distance. Or will he? No, he stopped at the 2. Yards as that swing pass was mishandled, and Will Johnson picked it up.
This is what this defense has done a lot of times. As he plays out right here, it comes back over on this side. Now watch the path of the ball. The ball is clearly thrown behind. Will Johnson comes up with the big play.
It looked as though Will Johnson was going to go all the way to the end zone, but he was brought down at the 2-yard line. Gerald Alphin got there to make the tackle. So the Calgary Stampeders, with Doug Flutie at the controls, now have a chance to take the lead for the first time in the football game. First and goal. There's the fake by Flutie. Flutie throws into the corner of the end zone. Marvin Pope, the touchdown! The short yardage offense, and Marvin Pope, the most unlikely candidate on the receiving end of the 2-yard throw from Doug Flutie.
But it is his second reception touchdown in the course of the 95 season, and they've used him exactly like this earlier in this season. As you said, a guy that's noted for his blocking, his size, gets in there. The defensive back takes his eyes off of him ever so slightly, and Big Daddy makes no mistake with that reception.
So the Calgary Stampeders have taken the lead, and now Mark McLaughlin will attempt to add to the Calgary total, and he has the 13th point of the game for the Stampeders with 1 minute gone by in the second quarter. Turnovers and special team play were expected to be such an integral part of the outcome, and here is Pope in the end zone taking the Flutie pass for the major score. Pretty good hands for a linebacker.
Hey, excellent hands for a linebacker. Does a good job. Doug Flutie's able to buy that extra time getting outside, breaks the containment, and look at the good feet that Marvin Pope does, and a very excited Wally Bono and John Huffnagel, the offensive coordinator, right behind him.
And after every Calgary touchdown, the Stampeders have Ricky, ridden by Karen Drake, gallop the length of Taylor Field. Ricky didn't get a lot of work in the last couple of games at McMahon Stadium as the Stampeders didn't score a whole bunch of touchdowns. But they're hoping at Taylor Field, after going to the expense of bringing Ricky to the 83rd Grey Cup game, that the horse will be galloping up and down the length of Taylor Field.
Let's see if you can get that horse lathered up real nicely through the course of this football game.
Now, there's not much doubt who this crowd is supporting at Taylor Field. It's almost like a home game for the Calgary Stampeders. Mark McLaughlin's kickoff taken by Chris Wright. Chris Wright gets to the sidelines, and then he's corralled as he brings it back to about the 45-yard line by Kevin Reed.
Tracy Ham's numbers so far through the course of this game, 2 for 5, and he hasn't thrown a lot of passes against the Calgary Stampeders. The last 2 playoff games, he's only had a total of 38 attempts. 22 of them he has completed. But when you've got a guy in the backfield named Mike Pringle, you don't need to throw the ball that much, just enough to make the defense respect you.
3 receivers wide to the right. Ham throws to the sidelines, and he has got Robert Drummond open for a Baltimore first down. Many times when the Stallions throw that little swing pass out to Mike Pringle, they throw the ball behind him, and that's what they did when Pringle fumbled and Will Johnson scooped it out.
Playing a 3-deep zone. Coleman goes to deep. Anthony McClanahan does not get out to the flat. Tracy Ham has a quick release, gets the ball out to Drummond very quickly, and he's able to pick up significant yardage.
18 yards for Drummond. On first down, Ham with time, throwing to the sidelines. He's got Clark open, and Clark has a first down. That's a long throw, sometimes a dangerous throw out into the flat.
Well, it really is, and that is the throw that the Calgary defense says, I'm going to give it up. If you want to take it and take the chance of throwing it, look how long the ball hangs out there. But there is no Calgary defender reacting quickly to it, and it allows Baltimore to make a big gain.
To the 23-yard line, 1st and 10, Baltimore. 12:50 remaining in the second quarter. 4 receivers to the left. Ham rolls to his right. A quick pass intended for Drummond. It bounced in front of him. It will be 2nd and 10.
Matt Finley came on a blitz from the middle linebacking position and got in Tracy Ham's face very quickly, forced him to throw that ball off balance and a little lower than he wanted to.
Matt Finley contemplating retirement. He has suggested that this might be his final game as a professional, and he would love to go out with a Grey Cup ring on his finger. Calgary again showing blitz as Ham drops back and gets protection. Oh, and the intended receiver, Mike Pringle, could not hang on. He was open, but couldn't squeeze the throw from Tracy Ham.
I'm suggesting that a blown coverage by the Calgary defense, not knowing exactly what they ran, but Mike Pringle circled out of the backfield. It looked like Anthony McClanahan had him one-on-one and just let him go. Sometimes when you're standing all by yourself, alone, nobody hanging on top of you, those are the toughest catches, as we just witnessed there with Mike Pringle.
Huerta, with the wind at his back, will be attempting a 30-yard field goal. When he was kicking into the wind, Dan Crowley was unable to pin it for him. This time he gets the ball on the tee, and it is good. So the Stallions have closed to within 3 with 12:09 remaining in the first half. 13-10. Calgary leads with 12:09 remaining in the first half, and the Stampeders will scrimmage from the 35, first and 10. Dave Sapunjas has twice been named the outstanding Canadian player in the Grey Cup game, 91 and 92, and he has started this game very strongly, Dan, and one of the reasons for his success, he seems to find the hole in the zone so well.
Well, Dave takes advantage of his athletic ability to get off the line of scrimmage quickly, read defenses extremely well, and then turn around, find the open area, sit down, and make himself a big target for Doug Flutie.
Flutie throwing down the sideline. Sapunjas in a battle, incomplete. Ken Watson had dropped back in coverage against Sapunjas.
Dave Sapunjas gets off the line, turns. He has the head exactly where he needs it. The ball slightly thrown behind him. He makes a good effort to try to come back, but there's excellent coverage downfield by Ken Watson, who was there step for step.
Sapunjas during the regular season had a career year, 111 catches for 1,655 yards. He lines up to the right. Flutie dumps it off over the middle, and Sapunjas takes it to the 40-yard line. That will be a gain of 5. Tracy Gravely came up to make the tackle, and that forces the Stampeders to kick it away.
Now watch, he's going to come off the line quickly, slide back underneath Alan Pitts. It's a delayed screen. Look at the offensive lineman downfield trying to get a block. There's Rocco Romano, the right tackle. Jamie Chrysler out there trying to make something happen. But this Baltimore defense has such great team speed, reacted extremely well to it.
Well, let's see how Martino handles the wind for the first time. In pregame warm-up, he was kicking pretty good into the wind. As a matter of fact, he boomed a couple of about 45 or 50 yards. Ball that bounces is mishandled by Wright, I should say, and he manages to get it back and then is down to the 38-yard line. There is also a flag on the play.
Same thing pertains to the Calgary coverage team as they are kicking into the wind. Get off the block, get off the jams, use your speed, get down the field, but you have to pick up the football.
No yards. Calgary 87. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Kevin Reed was the man who was quickly downfield in that 5-yard area, resulting in the no yards penalty.
He's getting blocked by Smith, number 21, but he is caught in the no-yard zone.
First and 10 Baltimore. The Stallions are at their own 43-yard line. 10:40 remaining in the first half. They trail by 3. Ham drops back. Ham is able to escape. There's a penalty flag on the play, and when it occurs in the backfield, this usually means offensive holding.
I think you're going to get exactly that there, referee friend. Number 66, Neil Ford, I think is going to get called for holding against Marvin Pope.
Dave Ewell, the referee this afternoon, explaining the options to the defensive captain, Matt Finlay. Few snow flurries falling at Taylor Field.
Not a lot of thought in this. I think right now they're going to talk to Matt Finlay. He says, take it back. It's either face mask or holding.
Major foul. Face mask. Baltimore 64. 15 yards. First down repeated.
Mark Dixon, the guilty party. A face mask call against the Stallions.
This is the play that I saw. Will Johnson working off the sideline, coming off the corner extremely hard. Neil Fort with the hand up in the face. That could have been called also.
1st and 25 now for the Stallions. Ham swings it out to Pringle, looking for some blocking help, and he is upended. Drummond was out trying to block for him, and Coleman was one of those who came up to defend against Mike Pringle.
From a defensive philosophy, if you force Tracy Ham to have to dump the ball off to Mike Pringle coming out of the backfield, you've won the battle. Mike Pringle is the guy that's going to run the ball, and if they're not throwing it downfield to their receiving threats, dumping it to Mike is a victory for Calgary.
Ham is throwing deep for Culver, and he overthrew him. Gerald Vaughn had dropped deep with Shannon Culver as Ham was attempting to strike with the wind at his back with 9:38 remaining in the first half.
Shannon Culver was a receiver that came into the Baltimore organization last year, played one game, and decided to leave on his own. I think he showed a lot of immaturity from talking with Don Matthews. This year he has come back to this ball club, contributed, and has really showed some maturity in the 95 season.
And Josh Miller has tremendously improved his kicking this year, mainly due to an off-season workout program where he improved his leg strength. Terry Vaughn waits for the ball back at the 20-yard line. And good downfield coverage. Alvin Walton was the first to make contact with him. A 54-yard kick for Miller, 6 yards on the run back. 9:15 remains in the half.
Ron Lancaster, the wind's been a factor in this game, but not in the way we thought it would be.
No, I really expected the team with the wind that dominated, and they haven't. The team against us made some first downs, and therefore it's kind of neutralized it. So it's been good.
James, great coverage by Calgary in the Baltimore punt.
It was great coverage by Baltimore on that punt where they limited Calgary on the return, where Calgary was not able to do that against Baltimore, and it cost them a touchdown.
Don?
Well, Scott, I too am somewhat surprised that the team with the wind hasn't had the success many people prior to the start of this game thought they would. And now it's Calgary operating against the wind from the 26-yard line. Hand off to Tony Stewart, trying to go wide in the sweep. Good pursuit by Matt Goodwin. Dan, this is something that Baltimore does. They will chase the football. They have great team speed. They don't do a lot of complicated things defensively. They try and force you to make a mistake.
They certainly do. They have the kind of athletes that they can line them up in a position. The offenses know that they are going to either block them or they're going to come on a rush. The problem is now is he's saying, now Calgary, you know Peyton's going to come, you know Goodman's going to come. It's your problem. You have to block him. Now can you?
2nd and 7 for Calgary. Flutie is moving some people around. Flutie gives the toss to Stewart to the short side, and Goodwin was over there again.
Now Doug comes down. This is a little keen play that he likes to do, an option play, and they normally have done this down around in the goal line area. They thought they may catch Baltimore sleeping ever so slightly, but a good reaction by this defense shut that play down.
When we talked about Doug Flutie's focus this week, he did not have the distraction that he has had in the past 4 years of being the nominee for the Outstanding Player Award that has taken up a lot of his time.
It really does put a drain on you. I mean, there's a lot of publicity there. There's a lot of press conferences. You have people, you know, tugging at you all the time, and it's hard to stay really focused. Doug Flutie looked in the locker room the past 2 days as focused an individual and an athlete as I have seen getting ready for a championship game.
Oh, this punt is blocked. Coming off the corner, it is Brigance who got to it. The ball is loose. It's taken into the end zone. Touchdown for Alvin Walton. We talked in the pregame about the role of special teams. A touchdown for Alvin Walton on a blocked punt after a touchdown by Chris Wright on an 82-yard punt return.
Alvin Walton, nicknamed Dirty, is the leader on special teams. Low drop. Look at the sellout by O.J. Brigance, the middle linebacker. Comes in clean, gets his hands on the ball. Everybody's looking around for it. O.J. picks it out. But the man that comes up with it and gets it into the end zone is Alvin Walton.
And now Carlos Huerta with the point after. And he puts it through, and the Baltimore Stallions now have a 4-point lead. O.J. Brigance, who told us this week that the focus of the Baltimore Stallions different this year than last year, and he certainly had his focus as he came in to block this third down punt by Tony Martino.
And what shows you about O.J. Bergas' great speed, because he came from outside of your frame, outside of your picture, to get a piece of that. And Alvin Walton is the man that came up with the big turnover. This is what happens when your offense may be sputtering a little bit, your defense may be sputtering, and then the special teams take over and score some points for you.
Coleman takes the Carlos Huerta kickoff at the 15-yard line. And Coleman is taken down at the 31, and that's where Calgary will scrimmage 1st and 10 with 7:34 remaining in the half. Scott?
Don, in our Chrysler Canada Grey Cup halftime report from Taylor Field, we'll take in the halftime show, a celebration of Saskatchewan, a show 19 months in the making. Since Regina was awarded the Grey Cup in March of 1994, I should say. Saskatchewan's been huddling up ever since. We'll analyze the first half, and I think we could be talking a lot about specialty teams, which have accounted for all of Baltimore's points, Don.
And when they won the Grey Cup bid in '94, money was put aside to refurbish Taylor Field. Some $2 million was spent here to add to the capacity of the crowd. The Flutie pass blocked by Alfred Payton before he could get it to his receiver. And we talk about focus and players who are ready for this Grey Cup championship. Alfred Payton, definitely one of them.
Well, you saw earlier where he says, I will not accept losing. Alfred Payton gets upfield. As soon as he sees the ball thrown, Schwack, his nickname is. That stands for Southwest Athletic Conference, where he played down in Grambling. Got his hand up, made a big defensive play.
2nd and 10 as Flutie is in the shotgun. Flutie looking for Alan Pitts, and Pitts got tangled up with Charles Anthony. And Flutie overthrew the big slot back, and the Stampeders are forced to kick it away again. And Alfred Payton was again in the face of the Calgary quarterback.
Don Matthews' team are noted for being physical. Number 9, Charles Anthony, tries to get the jam on Allen, but Allen seems to have stumbled on the turf, lost his footing, and the ball sailed past his outside hand. Look at the speed of Alfred Payton as he gets around Bruce Beaton and uses that quickness to get right in Doug Flutie's face.
Tony Martino stands back at his own 17-yard line. This has not been the type of game that Martino had envisioned. A punt return for a touchdown and one block. And this one bounces back towards the line of scrimmage. It's picked up there by Wright. Actually, he never got his hands on it as he was hit. And it was recovered by Biggs, but they are going to call Calgary for no yards, as there were several Calgary Stampeders well within the 5-yard area.
One of the young rookies that had just been dressed for this ball game, Jackie Kellogg, jumped into that zone very quickly, tried to cover the punt up. Just not realizing, and this is the key thing when you get into championship games, you have to be disciplined.
It was here at Taylor Field when the Stampeders on October 14th suffered only their 2nd loss of the season that Martino injured his kicking foot. It has hampered him ever since, but he has managed to persevere and still handles the punting chores for the Stampeders.
We have illegal interference on the receiver, 15-yard penalty, 51 Calgary, 1st down.
He attacked the ball! It's Alondra Johnson who is called for the illegal interference on the receiver. You cannot touch him and hit him. You have to allow him an opportunity to field that punt.
So that improves the Baltimore field position. They will scrimmage 1st and 10 from the Calgary 40-yard line. 6:14 remaining in the first half here at Taylor Field in Regina. 3 receivers wide to the left. A handoff goes to Pringle. Pringle inside is hit and then driven back. Dan, one of the problems Pringle has had, even though he led the league in rushing this year, is that he is sometimes a little impatient. The offensive linemen were saying they sometimes have sore ribs from him running right into them.
Well, it's hard to say, like, Mike, slow down your takeoff a little bit, make it a little slower so that you can hit the hole. I'll get my block. Great blocking up front by Shar Perdanish. This guy's last year the CFL's most outstanding lineman.
Yes, he was the outstanding lineman last year. Right next to him, Mike Withacombe, the outstanding lineman this year. Tracy Ham with all sorts of time. Now he's flushed out, throws over the middle, and it's incomplete. Robert Clark was the man that Tracy Ham was looking for.
Don, when you have such an attacking defense like Calgary does, it is unusual to see a quarterback be able to stand in the pocket for as long as Tracy Ham did on that particular play, but it's a great compliment to those big horses up front, the offensive linemen, for being able to protect him that well.
6'7", 310, Neil Fort. 6'3", 290, Mark Dixon. 6'5", 280, Nick Subas. 6'5", 300, Mike Withicombe. 6'6", 290, Shar Perdonish. Field goal attempt by Carlos Huerta, but there is a penalty flag on the play. This flag was thrown in the end zone.
Possibility of an illegal substitution could be the call.
There's no infraction on the play. Field goal is good.
I think in counting the number of players, there may have only been 11 Calgary Stampeders on the field. But the Baltimore Stallions are going to take the field goal as they increase their lead to 7. From high above, we see Taylor Field with a capacity crowd watching this 83rd Grey Cup game. And the Calgary Stampeders trailing by 7 as Flutie out of the shotgun flips it out, and a hitch screen to Dave Sapunjas. He's making something happen on his own as he takes the ball upfield for his best gain of the afternoon. O.J. Brigance made the tackle, but not before number 25 went 26 yards.
Excellent throw by Doug Flutie to get the ball out there very quickly to Sponge. Just a hit pattern. He was lined up extremely wide for a slot back. That has to be a key to the defensive back to know something's going to happen. He's going to have to come back inside, and come back inside he did with that hitch, made the reception, and hit the ball upfield.
First and 10. The ball is at the Baltimore 48-yard line. This time 4 receivers line up wide to the left. The pass complete to Tony Stewart, and Stewart struggles to try and get a first down, and he'll be close.
Tony Stewart, an excellent receiver out of the backfield, and if the Baltimore defense is going to give the wide side of the field to Doug Flutie, force him to throw the ball out there, he's going to take it. This time he uses Tony Stewart, who's sitting out there all by himself. Good power move right now over number 17, Douglas Kraft, the ex-Calgary Stampeder, to be able to pick up that first down, or at least get it close enough to call for a measurement.
They are going to measure. You know, when Baltimore scored the punt return touchdown, and then on the ensuing kickoff, Tony Stewart fumbled, it looked as though the Calgary Stampeders could be in a huge hole.
Well, and they really were in a huge hole. And at the point, a highlight part of their game, their special teams, which Coach Wally Bono said this year was the most improved plays over the whole team. But at the beginning of this game, it was showing signs of having a crack in the armor somewhere.
The measurement reveals a Calgary first down with 3:50 remaining in the opening half. Calgary trailing by a converted touchdown. First and 10 from the Baltimore 38-yard line. Flutie moves in behind center. Jamie Crysdale fakes inside, and then under pressure from Payton has to dump the ball before he wanted to. Flutie in that situation, Dan, many times will spin away and run, but Payton was not giving him any chance to escape.
Alfred Payton just shot like a rocket off of the corner. Nobody's blocking him. Doug Flutie comes out on the naked bootleg all by himself, and he just, in self-defense, rolls away from Swack. And Alfred says, don't bring that over here to me. Don't bring that weak stuff.
Second and 10. 4 receivers right this time as Flutie sets up in the shotgun. Flutie is flushed out of the pocket. He gets away from Maxey, now throws deep along the sidelines. And he was looking for Pitts again, and Chris Johnson, the safety, came over to defend. The safety position has been a big problem this year for Baltimore. They've had 5 different safeties trying to replace Lester Smith, most of them converted cornerbacks.
And that cornerback right there is Johnson, who made a great attempt at the closing speed, picking up the ball in the air, breaking on it, and making a super defensive play. So
now Mark McLaughlin, who has been good on both field goal attempts, with the win from 35 and 32 yards will be trying a 44-yarder. Now the flags that hang from the goalposts are gently fluttering, not stretched right out as are the flags high atop the stadium.
Mark's longest kick is 52, but he doesn't see much wind like this. He's kicking it out of bounds.
So this one goes out of bounds at, they'll mark at the 8-yard line.
And that's a good play. That's a call play. I saw Mark practicing that in the pregame warm-up, lining up in the field goal, knocking it out of bounds, making Baltimore scrimmage from where the ball goes out of bounds.
Well, one of these gentlemen will be celebrating this evening and also have the distinction of recording more wins in a single year than any other coach in CFL history.
And Don, you mentioned earlier about the Grey Cup that Wally Buono won in 1977. That was against the Edmonton Eskimos. I remember it fondly, 41-6 at the Ice Bowl. Coach Don Matthews was the defensive coordinator for the Edmonton Eskimos. That was his first year under Huey Campbell.
And 77, as we look at Grey Cup lore, is the year of the staple, the infamous staple that the Montreal team used in their shoes to get better traction on the ice at Olympic Stadium.
You promised me you weren't going to bring that up, because there's another couple of hours with the therapist.
Wally Buono always seems to get you going by reminding you about that 1977 Grey Cup game.
He knows exactly which buttons to push on this guy.
First and 10, the ball is at the 9-yard line. Fake inside, out into the flat to Chris Armstrong, and Armstrong continued on, but they ruled that he was downed after a pickup of just a couple of yards. Armstrong was the leading receiver this year for Baltimore.
64 catches, 1,111 yards, 11 touchdowns. Catches the ball in the flat, long, slips down, knee touches. The hand slid by. Kent Leonard was already by him. I think he could have been able to get up and run the ball for a few more yards.
Second and 7 for Baltimore. Ham is in the shotgun. 3 receivers wide to the right. And down goes Ham. He is dropped for a loss. Zizakovic got to Tracy Ham back at the 2-yard line.
Strecko at 6'5", 265. This is his 6th year with the Calgary Stampeders. Works one-on-one against Neil Ford. Gets the better of that battle. But again, Tracy Ham had a lot of time to stand in the pocket. Good coverage by the Calgary secondary. That's what you call it, a coverage sack.
Well, they don't give out assists on a sack, but Will Johnson should have had one, because when he jumped in the air, he blocked the view of Ham, and he was forced to pull it down. And then Zizakovic came in to make the tackle. This kick by Miller takes a good Baltimore bounce and rolls out of bounds way back at the Calgary 36-yard line.
One of the cardinal sins I think you don't want to have happen in a major game like this, in a punting situation, is letting that ball hit the turf, because that case, when it hit the turf, it scooted along. It was a 67-yard punt totally, and it made about 20 yards of that was after it hit the turf.
Here in the Calgary bench, Doug Flutie just went onto the field shouting expletives and throwing his jacket on the ground. He was really upset at how the Stampeders lost field position, letting that ball bounce so far down the field. Don?
Well, that's key, as Dan said. You have to field the ball in the air. The pass intended for Sapunjas, and this bounce in front of the Calgary slot back. It will be 2nd and 10.
Doug Flutie just shook and he hit his chest like that. He knows it was his fault. When he looked and he took the snap from the center, he mishandled it himself. Being a timing route, he tried to force the ball, and when it did, it skipped to Dave Sapunjas.
He looks over to John Hufnagel for assistance in calling the next play. 2nd and 10 from the 38. John Hufnagel, the offensive coordinator. All sorts of rumors about Hufnagel and the possibilities that he will be offered a head coaching job somewhere in the Canadian Football League next season. Flutie has time, can't find anybody, now drills it over the middle. It's incomplete, and it was intended for Tony Stewart. So the Calgary Stampeders are unsuccessful in moving the football against the wind. With 1:55 remaining, they'll be kicking it away.
Doug Flutie had second and third thoughts about running that football. Excellent coverage by the Baltimore secondary. Had everybody all across the board covered. Doug jumped up into the pocket and tried to force the throw. That's normally a time when you would see Doug Flutie scramble and pick up the first down, keep possession of the football.
Flutie has missed on his last 4 pass attempts, and now Tony Martino stands back at his own 24-yard line for this third down kick. This one hangs up in the wind. This is probably going to bounce back. No, it takes a sideways bounce, picked up there by Wright, and another penalty flag comes down as Wright takes it out of bounds at the 50-yard line.
Now, Tony Martino was making a great effort to try to get downfield, a 13-yard punt, to try to get downfield and recover that ball. I don't know if he is the man that's going to be called for the no yards. And in fact, once they work it out, if they find out that it is Tony Martino that was in the zone, then obviously it would not be a no yards penalty.
Calgary 83, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Well, the no yards call goes against Tyrone Williams and not Tony Martino, so the 5 yards will move the football to the 46-yard line. Veteran Matt Finlay calling the defensive signals for the Calgary Stampeders. It's first and 10 with 1:46 remaining in the half. 3 receivers to the left. The crowd trying to get involved in the football game now as Tracy Ham looks to his left, throws, and Coleman, who was playing off, came driving up, trying to step in front of Clark. He had 2 interceptions for touchdowns in the semifinal game against the Hamilton Ticats, and had he been able to get his hands on this throw, he might have gone for 6 the other way.
Marvin Coleman baited Tracy Ham into throwing this ball. He actually made such a break on it that he overran the ball. The ball was thrown behind he and also the receiver. Excellent defensive play by the corner.
This time Ham steps in behind the center, Subas. Ham is under pressure, throws over the middle, incomplete. Penalty flag on the play.
As soon as Tracy comes out of that pocket and starts to scramble and run, the key is some of those offensive linemen, there it is, are going to grab somebody and try to protect the quarterback. And one of those guys up front was called for holding.
It looks as though it may have been Dixon.
Coming from that right side of Tracy Ham, it's either going to be Dixon or Ford.
Baltimore number 64. Penalties declined, third down.
And it is Mark Dixon.
Mark Dixon just in the middle of your screen, grabbing a hold at number 84. That's Gonzalo Floyd. That is the only reason why Tracy Ham was able to see as much of the field downfield that he was and to be able to try to attempt that pass.
This could be a Grey Cup record. A 53-yard field goal attempt by Carlos Huerta.
He certainly has the leg for it, Britt.
It's good. And Carlos Huerta etches his name into the Grey Cup record book. Last week, he established a playoff record with 7 field goals, accounting for all the points as Baltimore defeated San Antonio in the South Division final. The previous record, Dave Cutler, a 52-yarder, a former teammate of yours. And this is the 4th field goal in Grey Cup history that has been kicked from beyond the 50-yard line.
He has a very unique address to the ball, a couple of jump steps, and then that powerful leg of this young kicker gets it through for the record field goal. And more importantly, as you said, he was having some trouble with field goals kicking into the wind at the beginning of the game.
Hand off inside to Stewart, and Stewart is going to have 8 yards before being tackled by Charles Anthony with 1:25 remaining in the half. The Stallions now in a 10-point lead.
Calgary got this ball at the beginning of the second quarter. They were ahead 10-7. That changed the philosophy probably of Doug Flutie and what he could do going against the wind. Now when you're behind 23-13, you need to try to score some points and make some things happen. You're going to have to throw the ball downfield.
On 2nd and 2, Stewart is going to be denied the first down by Matt Goodwin. And so Calgary will be forced to send out the punting unit. At least we anticipate that will be the decision of Wally Buono. He may opt to go for it.
Well, he's showing some great faith at that time with his big offensive line up front, trying to be aggressive and saying, look, I have confidence in you. Get off the ball. Let's pick up the first down. Baltimore said, no way, this defense is going to stop you, and they shut down Tony Stewart before he could come close to the first down marker.
And Calgary has called a timeout, and Doug Flutie moves over to the sidelines to confer with both John Hufnagel and Wally Buono. This could be a huge gamble at this stage. It's third and more than a yard.
Well, what I may see you do is take a guy like Doug Flutie, instead of doing a quarterback sneak, this is a fairly long play, take it and just do a quarterback sweep around one of these ends and just go for the first down.
And you're absolutely right. It's Doug Flutie running the ball. He's got Crysdale leading the way, and he's got the first down.
Now, not exactly the way I said it, but what he did, he play action inside. He came out on the bootleg, and that gives him the option of either running the ball to pick up the first down or throwing it. This time he decided to run it. Take a look. Good fake inside. Stewart. Jamie Crysdale, the center, is the man that's going to lead him out to pick up that first down, keep possession of the football.
From the 51, first and 10. Now Flutie is flushed out, and he is tripped up, tackled by Gerald Bayless. For a moment, things appeared to open up the middle for Doug Flutie, and then Bayless managed to catch him by the foot and trip him up after a pickup of just a couple of yards. Stopping Flutie from throwing the football and also controlling his running ability. One of the defensive plans of the Stallions.
It actually is, and they can do that with that great speed that they possess.
It's deflected to Alan Pitts. It went through the hands of the initial target, Tony Stewart, through Charles Anthony, and then into the hands of Alan Pitts.
First down. You couldn't draw up a tip drill even any better than this. Alan Pitts sitting back. There he is. Terrific concentration. Picks up the ball. More importantly, picks up a first down, keeps possession.
30 seconds remaining in the half. Flutie operating from the shotgun. Penalty flag on the play, and down goes Flutie.
Flag on the play.
Demetrius Maxey brought down Doug Flutie, and it is going to be a penalty call, it would appear, against Calgary.
Illegal procedure against Calgary.
Ladies and gentlemen, the boys and girls, the stairway
illegal
is very
procedures.
slippery, so please
Calgary 18.
use caution.
Penalties declined. Second down.
It will be second down Calgary with 23 seconds remaining in the half and the clock running. Flutie operating from the shotgun, dumping it off to Stewart, trying to set up the screen, and as Stewart tried to cut back where the blocking was setting up, he slipped and fell. He got back to the initial line of scrimmage with just 12 seconds left in the half.
On that particular play, Baltimore very contented, stick back into a zone. If they dump it off, then use that speed again, close the distance quickly, react up, and just stop them short of the first down mark. And that is exactly the way it was drawn up, and that is exactly the way they executed it.
12 seconds remaining in the half as Flutie comes over to the Calgary bench.
10 seconds. 10 seconds.
64-43, the numbers that John Hufnagel is barking out there. We'll wait to see how that play develops. But it's initially that they're going to have to get the ball downfield, probably 10 to 15 yards and out of bounds to give Mark McLaughlin an opportunity for a field goal.
To the sidelines, Terry Vaughn could not hang on. 7 seconds remain, and the Baltimore Stallions send out their offensive unit. Throw just a little high for Terry Vaughn as he went to the sidelines, unable to pull it in. He would have had the first down had Flutie been able to deliver it.
Yeah, it's awfully hard into this win with quarterbacks, and Ron Lancaster will tell you in our booth, when you try to make a precise throw like that, Doug trying to put a little zip on it, he just is not able to gauge how hard he should throw the ball.
Tracy Ham on the final play, or close to it, of the half, looking over the middle for Chris Armstrong. 3 seconds remaining.
Armstrong incomplete. Second and 10, Baltimore's ball at the 42.
10-point lead for Tracy Ham. All he needs to do, take it back, get in the shotgun, air it out one time, see if he can make something big happen right before the half.
And sends his receivers deep, looks over to the sidelines. Robert Drummond has the ball, and Drummond is stopped as he gets to the 47-yard line on what is the final play of the first half here at Taylor Field. And the Baltimore Stallions head to the dressing room with a 10-point lead. Special teams accounting for 2 of the Baltimore touchdowns. Down to the sidelines, here's Steve.
Thank you, Don. With you now is Don Matthews. Don, a thought from you on the first half.
Well, you know, this wind is really making it a funny game, and the disappointing part from our point of view is I know Calgary's going to have the win in the fourth quarter, so this third quarter is very, very vital for us to put some points on the board.
Don, if you had to give the game ball away to any part of your team right now, it would probably be your special teams.
Well, yeah, that's right. Special teams is part of our team, though, and we always keep it in the team concept.
Don, good luck in the second half.
Thank you very much.
Don Matthews, the head coach of the Baltimore Stallions, goes to the dressing room with a 10-point lead.
Jim Spiros, the owner of the Baltimore Stallions, and he's really not interested in breaking away to join others and starting a new league in the United States, as he has said in the past. And he would like to see his Stallions wind up by taking the Grey Cup home to Baltimore or wherever the team might be located for next season. Wright brings the ball back to the 44-yard line, a 16-yard run back after a 47-yard kickoff. And Baltimore, with the wind at the back, has been playing on a short field most of this game.
Well, they really have. They've been playing on a short field on 2 occasions because of the wind and also because of Chris Wright. Here you see the matchup and the numbers on Flutie and Ham through the course of the first half.
3 receivers out to the left as Tracy Ham moves in behind the center. Nick Subas, Drummond in motion across the formation. Hand off to Pringle. Pringle goes wide. McClanahan made the first contact with him but wasn't able to bring him down, and then Marvin Coleman forced Pringle out of bounds. Dan, you often talk about the closing speed of a linebacker. McClanahan has it.
McClanahan has legitimate 4.4, 4.5 speed, and he's a big man, 6'2", about 222, out of Washington State, but he's young, he's raw, he has a lot of abilities. It's a matter of just polishing him and getting all that energy directed in the right area.
It will be 2nd and 7. Fake inside to Pringle. Now Ham is forced to haul it down and run, and he's pushed out of bounds. Short of a first down, Gonzalo Floyd came across to force Ham out of bounds.
You can see the look on Tracy's face as he's talking to one of the receivers downfield, talking about, hey, when I'm standing in there and you got to read that coverage, you've got to make this adjustment, and when I start to move, find the open area. And it looked like he was talking to Joe Alpin, to come back, find the open area, give me a target to hit at.
And he's not reluctant to chastise his teammates if they make a mistake.
Well, in this game, I think somebody has to be the general out there. Somebody has to take control, and Tracy takes that responsibility very well.
Baltimore has Chris Wright as a return man. Calgary has Coleman, who can run it back, but he won't get an opportunity to field it. He is going to let it bounce and have it roll through the end zone. So the 70-yard single gives Baltimore an 11-point lead. Well, many people suggested prior to the kickoff that the coin toss could be very vital in determining the outcome, and Calgary will have the wind at their back in the fourth quarter. But right now, Doug Flutie on a quarterback draw is operating against it, and Doug Flutie is going to be very close to a first down, a pickup of about 8 yards. O.J. Brigance came over to pull him down.
Good call by Doug Flutie early in this quarter.
Flutie's passing attack so far has been mainly to the right side of the offense. 8 of the 10 completions have gone in that direction, and they've been of the short variety.
Well, they had to be. I think a lot of those passes were thrown trying to catch up in the second quarter, and you're not going to throw the ball a great distance into this win.
2nd and 2 as Flutie picked up 8 yards on the quarterback draw. He gives to Stewart, and Stewart, like an explosion through the line of scrimmage, and he was into the secondary so quickly they didn't have a chance to stop him.
The offensive line of the Calgary Stampeders really missed Bruce Covington over on the left tackle. Bruce Beaton has filled in extremely well, does a good job getting off the ball. Bobby Pandolita's making a big block and creating a big hole for Tony Stewart to have an opportunity to pick up that first down.
1st and 10 from the 53. Baltimore leading by 11. Inside handoff to Stewart. Stewart trying to go wide. Then he's hit. Charles Anthony was the man who made the initial contact with him. And then Matt Goodwin finished the job.
I think it's in case that Doug Flutie, if you're going to run the ball and you're going to use Tony Stewart, you're going to have to go straight at this tough Baltimore defense. You try to counter and use any kind of fancy plays against these guys. Look at the athleticism of Alfred Payton. Stretches it out, moves Tony Stewart down the line, and that allows Charles Anthony great speed to pursue it in there, close quickly, and make that tackle for about a 2-yard gain.
Matt Goodwin has been around the ball an awful lot so far in this game, and he was there to help out Charles Anthony. Here comes the blitz. Pass is complete to Alan Pitts, and that will be a first down at the 45 as Flutie got it off just in time.
That's what Doug Flutie does. He will stare right down the face of a blitzing linebacker and release the ball. Alan Pitts comes in, man-on-man coverage, creates a little separation, comes back toward the ball, back toward the quarterback, and Doug Flutie threw the ball on the mark.
Baltimore has been bumping the receivers on almost every play as they come off the line.
Well, it's a catch-22, because if you bump them, you better hit them clean, because those receivers, if you miss them, they will take it to the house and take it for 6.
Inside handoff to Stewart, and Stewart takes it to the 40-yard line, a pickup of 5. It was Alfred Payton with help from Brigance who managed to trip him up. Only twice this year has Stewart had 100-yard rushing games.
Alfred Payton has to respect Doug Flutie running outside. That forces him to come upfield, further contain, and that allowed the run play to take place inside. Alan Pitts, not only a good receiver, he's going to come out there and at least get in the face of Matt Goodwin for a block.
2nd and 5. Fake inside to Stewart. Flutie with a deep drop. Throws complete to Sapunjas. This will be another first down Calgary. And this is the type of Calgary drive that we've come to expect most times this season.
And Don, I think this accomplishes one great thing. It keeps the ball in the hands of Calgary, runs off some time of the clock, and it takes away from the time that Tracy Ham has got to utilize with the win.
10 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Sapunjas with 85 receiving yards. He's the leader among the 4 slotbacks in today's game, and this is Terry Vaughn looking for a hole, and he takes it to the 10. 22 yards for Terry Vaughn.
Now, this is a very slow developing play that's constituted by the fact that the offensive line has to do a tremendous job of blocking. Doug Flutie has to wait for Terry Vaughn to come from the wide out position on the right-hand side of your screen all the way across the field, and you can see when he gets in traffic, Terry Vaughn does a good job covering that ball up with 2 hands to make sure they maintain possession.
1st and 10 from just outside the 10-yard line. Flutie in the shotgun, 3 receivers to the left. Flutie looks that way. He may run it himself. He was looking to the end zone. O.J. Brigance made the tackle. He was looking to the end zone, hesitated just a moment, and then Brigance was able to close.
Well, O.J. Brigance is just one of those kind of really great linebackers. Good closing speed. Doug Flutie's looking downfield. O.J.'s coming inside out on him. Great peripheral vision by Doug Flutie. Sees him right at the last minute and is able to tuck the ball away so that he doesn't fumble it.
Talked earlier about the closing speed of a linebacker. We saw it there.
Well, he's got great speed and great anticipation of the offensive plays.
It will be 2nd and 10 from just outside the 10-yard line. Flutie in the shotgun. Flutie is going to run it this time. He gets a block. Will he get there? He dives to the corner and will be just short at the 1-yard line, but close enough that I don't think there is much doubt that the Stampeders will go for it if they are short.
Great foot speed by Doug Flutie. Looks at the coverage downfield, sees it's not there. He's going to take it on his own. Breaks to the outside right now. As soon as that ball goes under the left arm, it's going to be run all the way. Picks up a block, but then he runs outside of Douglas Kraft. Kraft made a very poor effort to make the tackle on the quarterback, Doug Flutie. Second and about a yard, third and about a yard, I should say. And Calgary, no doubt, they get this play, big momentum swing for the red and white.
Well, Ron Lancaster might remember what Doug Flutie did in the opening quarter in the Northern Final when they consumed 8 minutes on their first touchdown drive. They have used a lot of time on this drive. Flutie keeps. No signal yet. The Stampeder players are signaling. Flutie could have picked up a first down without scoring.
I think he picked up the first down, but he did not get in. Let's take a good look at it here. Great surge in the middle. Denny Chronopoulos, Jamie Crysdale, Bobby Pandelides. There's the force in the edge. Gets the ball up in there. Looks like it's for the first down, but it didn't look like it crossed the plane.
A critical measurement, and it will reveal a Calgary first down. Flutie was denied the end zone, but they will have 3 more cracks at getting there.
There's a look from the other side. Good surge again, as I said, up that offensive line. The guys up front. Doug Flutie stopped momentarily, tried to make the second effort, but just did not cross the plane. Ball comes back to the 1-yard line.
First and goal, Calgary. Flutie is going to keep. This time he's got it. It's a pro-Calgary crowd here at Taylor Field for this 83rd edition of the Grey Cup, and they're delighted with this touchdown run by Doug Flutie.
It worked 3 times, right behind again. Jamie Crysdale, Bobby Pandelides, Rocco Romano off the right side.
7:15 remaining in the third quarter as Ricky is getting set for a touchdown gallop. McLaughlin adds the point after. And with 7:02 remaining in the third quarter, it's a 4-point game. We'll be back with the Calgary kickoff.
They allowed Doug Flutie to get the ball in the end zone.
That was an 11-play drive against the wind. This is Chris Wright on the return. Penalty flag. That will likely be an illegal block against Jason Bryant. Well, Ricky lights the fans in the east end zone because that's the area where they celebrate a Calgary touchdown. And now Baltimore is backed up. The crowd very much back into the football game. Sideline pattern for Clark. Clark made the first man miss. He got away from Jordan and picks up the first down with Gerald Vaughn making the tackle.
This is what's impressive about Tracy Ham. Comes into the league, as I said, noted as a scrambler, mover, and a shaker, but he has really developed into a passer. This is a tough throw. It's a long throw to the outside. Finds Clark. Clark makes a good reception, dips away from Jordan, and picks up a few extra yards.
First and 10 now from the 33-yard line. Over the middle to Gerald Alphin, and he has another Baltimore first down. Alphin started the year with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. On the Labor Day weekend, was cut by Cal Murphy, had some options, Memphis or Baltimore, opted to sign with Baltimore, and they feel he takes a lot of pressure off the other slot, Chris Armstrong.
He really does. Tracy reads this. Calgary does a little bit different in their drop. They drop Marvin Pope. You can see him spinning around. He doesn't see Joel Alphin, and Joel Alphin gets downfield quickly. Tracy hits him.
Ham throwing over the middle, and it was knocked down at the line of scrimmage by Gonzalo Floyd. He got his hands up, and that's something the Calgary defensive linemen are attempting to do, get those hands up in those passing lanes.
Well, their primary rule is you make your effort, you make your rush to get up the field. Once you feel you're stalled and you see the arm motion of the quarterback, get your hands up and get up high. Gets up that right hand, knocks it down, creates a long and 2nd and 10 situation for Tracy Ham.
This time, 3 receivers wide to the left. Ham completes the pass to Tui Pelotu, and he is going to be stopped short of the first down by McClanahan. Now, it looks as though he's only about a yard shy, so Don Matthews has a decision to make.
And I wouldn't think there would be a lot of decisions. I know Coach Matthews over the years, a little bit of a gambler. And plus, when you have the guys up front that average 300 pounds, 6'6", you better think you can get a yard. And you got Mike Pringle in the backfield.
In the I formation, they scatter. Tracy Ham will keep. And it looks as though he should have the first down, but it might require a measurement nonetheless.
Goes off the left side behind the CFL's most outstanding lineman, Mike Withicombe. Nick Subas, the center.
Calgary think they've stopped him, and the ball placement could be critical here.
Come on, Calgary ball!
Referee Dave Yule calling for a measurement, and it might be very close, folks. The Calgary players feel they've stopped Tracy Ham on the 3rd down gamble. They stretch out the chain.
I don't think so.
Whoa. Just.
Frank Spaziani, the defensive coordinator, signaling in to Matt Finley.
So it's 1st and 10 Baltimore from the 48-yard line. 4:23 remaining in the 3rd quarter. A 3-receiver set left. Fake inside to Pringle. Ham steps up, looks over the middle. He's got Alphen open. And Alphen takes it down to the 25-yard line. Tackled there by Jordan. A 22-yard gain for Gerald Alphen.
Great protection for Tracy Ham. That allows him to stand in the pocket for a long time. And with that extra time, it allowed Joe Alphen to go down one-on-one, create some separation from Al Jordan, as Tracy Ham delivered the ball on the money, but paid just a little bit of price from Strekos Zakovic after he let go of the ball.
1st and 10. Tracy Ham throws over the middle, and the catch is made. Peter Tui Pelotu at the 14-yard line, and this is a 1st down Baltimore again.
Tui Pelotu caught about 30 passes during the course of the regular season. Terrific hands. He's a big receiver, 215 pounds.
14-yard line.
And this is the best drive the Stallions have put together in a couple of weeks. Hand off to Pringle, and Pringle is racked up after a pickup of a couple of yards. Tracy Ham going to the air with the wind at his back in this 3rd quarter. 3 minutes remaining in the 3rd quarter. And as a result, Pringle hasn't handled the ball for a while.
This Calgary defense doing a good job of sustaining, as far as doing good defense against the rush, and Mike Pringle forcing Tracy Ham to use play-action pass. When they do it, freezes the linebacker. That's why Alphen and some of the other receivers are having luck working over the middle.
2nd and 9. Tracy Ham looking, can't find anybody, trying to escape, and he does. And this is when Ham is dangerous. He'll run it in for the touchdown.
Tracy Ham on the motorbike run.
Tracy Ham can beat you with his scrambling, and he takes it into the end zone when he appeared to be corralled and possibly sacked for a loss.
You got to figure out how in the world does Tracy Ham get out of this mess. Nothing but red jerseys all around. Gonzalo Floyd gets pushed all the way across the formation. Tracy Ham sees just a little seam, and he has great speed and got himself into the end zone for that major. That's a terrific drive by the Baltimore Stallions.
2:16 remaining in the third quarter as Huerta adds the point after, and the Stallions regain the 11-point advantage. 52,564 at Taylor Field. Thought Calgary had Tracy Ham surrounded, but we have seen him perform this escape act before.
Well, add 37 more plus the coaching staff that were over on the Calgary Stampeders. They also felt they had him corralled and was going to be able to sack him. But Tracy Ham has done this a number of times to a lot of great football clubs to come up big in the big game.
Terry Vaughn takes Huerta's kickoff at the 10-yard line. Vaughn has good speed, and he gets it back to the 41 before he's bounced out of bounds by Jason Bryant.
Terrific effort by Terry Vaughn to get that ball up the field and then pick up significant yardage and give Doug Flutie great field position, 1st and 10. But just take another look here at the mobility of Tracy Ham and then just sheer speed to get himself into the end zone. Once he broke that point of attack by the line of scrimmage, all the defensive backs were running downfield in coverage. Tracy Ham had nothing but green grass and turf in front of him.
And Tracy Ham this year has not run the ball as much as he has in the past. This is his lowest rushing season in his CFL career. Doug Flutie slipped as he tried to set up, and he was lucky that it wasn't intercepted as it was deflected by Sapunjas, and Anthony had a shot at the deflection. You know, Dan, I'm just going to make a point. Right in this area where one of the sponsor identifications is painted onto the field, players were telling us during the week that on the painted areas the field is slippery, and that's where Flutie was trying to set up.
Well, it's obviously it has something to do with the chemical makeup in the paint, and when it gets into this cold weather and the wind, it does make it a little more icy of a surface, and we have seen a number of players having trouble with their footing.
Flutie, no problems this time. Vaughn makes the catch, but he's going to be stopped about 4 yards short of a first down by Irvin Smith.
That's around by 21, Irv Smith.
Martino now back at the 35-yard line for this third down punt. And into the wind, he gets away a pretty good kick that Wright allows to bounce. Now he finds the seam, and then it's closed off by Jackie Kellogg. 52 seconds remaining in the third quarter. That means Raymond Biggs will be pressed into action. He does not have the experience of a Matt Finley.
Well, he certainly doesn't, but he is a really good athlete. Having a chance to talk with Matt Finley yesterday and the day before, he's had this pinched nerve and pinch problem in his shoulder area the last 3 weeks. Yesterday he put even a bigger neck roll around there, hoping that would give it some support. But unfortunately, he knew that if he took a good shot on it, that he would be exactly where he's sitting right now on the sideline.
They hit screen to Robert Clark. Clark made the first tackler miss. Kenton Leonard had moved up very quickly and looked as though he was going to stop Clark right at the line of scrimmage.
Good play, just a hitch screen, good blocking downfield, excellent closure by Kenton Leonard, but he doesn't get his head on the outside, doesn't wrap his arms up and make the tackle. The head's down, the vision's down. He couldn't see. It allowed Clark to sidestep him and pick up about 5 yards.
7 seconds remaining in the third quarter. It's 2nd and 4 Baltimore. Tracy Ham looking over the middle, and he has the completion and a first down Baltimore. Chris Armstrong on the receiving end of the throw on what should be and is the final play of the third quarter, with the Stallions leading by 11 points.
Here's to the everyday things that end up being everything. Here's to all things simple, with casual clothing and footwear from Marks.
This is the statistical story of the first 45 minutes of this football game. Calgary continuing to hold an edge in passing yards and net yards and time of possession. But Baltimore, thanks to 2 special team touchdowns, holds an 11-point lead.
Now the change with Matt Finley going out, that puts Marvin Pope out of his rush-in position back to that normal middle linebacker position that he played last year. Look for Tracy Ham to take some advantage of that.
Pringle, the ball carrier, he runs hard for about 3 yards. Got maybe the last yard and a half on his own.
Yeah, let me just qualify my statement. Take advantage of Marvin Pope in the middle by the pass, not by the run. This guy between tackle to tackle closes as well as anybody. A powerful linebacker. He knows what he does, but his weakness at this point would be pass defense. Obviously, he's been lining up as a defensive end through the 95 season.
2nd and 6 now. 3 receivers again wide to the right. Ham fakes inside, looks over the middle for Culver, and he's got a first down.
Shannon Culver does a great job on the quick post. Tracy Ham sets back timing route. As soon as he clears the halfback, little play action pass inside, then throws the ball hard on the money. Skinny Culver goes down low for it, comes up with a good interception.
The Stampeders were able to put together a drive against the wind. Now Baltimore will try and finish off a drive against the wind. A drive that started in the late stages of the 3rd quarter, and this is Pringle trying to dance his way inside, and he will pick up 3 yards before being stopped. As I mentioned, 52,564, the official paid attendance watching the game.
Counter trap. Look at the eyes of Big Daddy Marvin Pope working down the line of scrimmage. Meets Robert Drummond in the hole. Jams him back in there and grabs a hold of Mike Pringle.
Marvin Pope looking over to the bench for some help in calling the defensive signals. 13 sacks during the course of the season. He led the Stampeders in that category.
Jackie Kellogg comes in. McClanahan goes out. 7 defensive backs.
Flipped out to Pringle, and Pringle goes down. And then Matt Finlay, who has come back into the ball game. Pinch nerve and sore neck and all. Flops on top of Pringle and brings him down, but not before he picks up a first down.
Don, if you remember that pass early in the 1st quarter that he dropped, this is the identical pass coming back across the seam. Take a look at the numbers on Matt Finlay for the 95 season. 4 interceptions, that's a career high for him.
People often talk about playing with pain. Matt Finlay is for the balance of this football game. And in the hole, Mike Pringle drives it straight ahead for a pickup of about 3 yards as McClanahan comes over to make the tackle.
Matt Finlay in the middle, patrolling this in. Just a search belly series. Gets slid by the play, comes back, tries to get a hand on Mike Pringle. Anthony McClanahan comes in for the cleanup tackle.
2nd and 5 with 3 receivers wide to the left. Baltimore leading by 11. Tracy Ham on a quarterback draw. And Tracy Ham is going to be stopped about 2 yards shy of a first down with 11:30 remaining in this 4th quarter.
I don't think that play was going to fool anybody, not particularly the Calgary defense. Tracy Ham had cleared out his backfield, and anytime you see Mike Pringle out of the way, only 1 or 2 things are going to happen. Tracy's either going to drop back, throw a quick pass, or he's going to do exactly as we just saw. Run the quarterback draw or run the quarterback sweep to some area, but he's going to keep the ball in his hands.
Carlos Huerta kicking into the wind. This will be a 22-yard field goal try. He has been good on 3 previously. This one is blocked. It looks as though Gerald Vaughn came up with the football. And the Calgary Stampeders snuff out a potential scoring drive with 11:12 remaining in the football game. And Calgary down by 11. It looked as though Zizakovic may have got a hand on it to block it.
Terrific surge by this Calgary defensive line.
Back at Taylor Field, Calgary still within 11 of Baltimore because of Sreko Zizakovic's blocked field goal. Ron Lancaster's here to say it was a huge play.
Sure was. You know, when you don't use a tee on the ground, you got to get it up quick. But watch that big arm. Just get up and get that thing up in the air, and he bats it right back at him.
James, because of that, it's still a game.
It was very imperative that Calgary was able to keep Baltimore out of the end zone from a touchdown.
All right, Don.
Well, it put Calgary in a position where 2 touchdowns can win it. Had Huerta been good with that field goal, they needed 2 touchdowns to tie. And this Flutie throw is knocked down by Carter. And Carter has played a huge role for the Baltimore Stallions in recent weeks in knocking down passes at the line of scrimmage.
To tell you the truth, this guy is unbelievable as far as getting his hands on the ball. Good rush upfield outside of Rocco Romano, sees the throw being made, then he gets high. He's vertical. This guy gets up in the air. That is his 6th knockdown in the 95 playoffs.
2nd and 10 Calgary. Flutie is operating out of the shotgun. 4 receivers wide to the right. Flutie looking over the middle, has to pull it down and run, but he's going to be stopped well short of the first down. He got up to the 15-yard line, and Calgary will be forced to send out the kicking team with 10:31 remaining in the football game.
Doug Flutie's been under a lot of pressure through the course of this whole game when he takes that straight drop back, and he gives Baltimore's defense another opportunity to put a lot of heat on him. Carter working really hard against Rocco Romano, but then Bobby Pandelides comes over and helps out.
Kept Flutie's bread and butter are the slot backs, Pitts and Sapunjas. Watson and Anthony are playing a lot of bump coverage on the 2 slot backs.
They really are. They're trying to get out there to see if they can get a jam on those guys and slow them up off the line of scrimmage.
With the wind, the kick by Martino is fielded by Wright. Wright, not much room over on the far side of the field, and no opportunity for a return as he is stopped at the 54 of Calgary. 10:03 remaining as the clock ticks away, with Baltimore leading 31-20. The Stallions on a first down play. The give to Pringle. Pringle gets away from McClanahan, managed to stay in bounds, and will pick up 8 yards before being upset by Vaughn over on the far side of the field.
Anthony McClanahan does a great job of getting across the line of scrimmage, getting upfield, but his responsibility is that he has to maintain containment. When he doesn't do that, this is what you see. Mike Pringle, with that speed, able to turn the corner and pick up 8 or 9 yards there, make it 2nd and very short for Tracy Ham.
2nd and 2 for the Stallions from the 45-yard line. It's Pringle again. He's got the first down as he drives his way close to the 40-yard line.
11-point lead, and when Tracy has the ability, has the cushion and the comfort of that lead, and he can allow this offense and those big guys up front to grind it out and to pound on the Calgary defense, it's a tough day at the office for the Calgary defense.
Pringle has rushed for 67 yards so far in the football game. Tracy Ham now 1st and 10 from the 42. They give again to Pringle, and Pringle breaks 1 tackle and takes the ball to the 35-yard line. This man is also a workhorse. He wants to carry the ball as many times as possible.
When you're a running back, you want to carry it. When you're a receiver, you want to get it thrown to you. Look at the move on Will Johnson. He gets off the block of Robert Drummond really well, works down the line of scrimmage. Great speed and strength by Mike Pringle allows him to run right through the tackle. Really one of the best defensive ends in this league, Will Johnson.
2nd and 3 now for Baltimore. The ball is at the 35.
Big turning point right here for Calgary.
Tracy Ham in trouble. And he got to the 35 and maybe to the 34 before being driven back. It almost looked as though there may have been a miscue between Ham and Pringle.
I think not. I think they maybe, and it could be a miscue, but what I think they were trying to do, a little play action pass. Tracy was trying to fool this Calgary defense, get them to concentrate on Mike Pringle. Give it to him here. Now come back outside. It looked like it was going to be a trap with Robert Drummond coming back inside Whitten. I think you're exactly right. They just missed the handoff. Tracy was left holding the bag.
A field goal attempt from 42 yards out. It's up. It's good. Against the wind, Carlos Huerta makes it a 14-point game. Baltimore leading with 7:31 remaining. 7:31 the time remaining at Taylor Field in Regina. Steve Barato, the Stallions offensive coordinator, normally is on the sidelines during a game. But he woke up this morning really feeling ill, so it was decided that he would go upstairs. And that's one of the reasons, even though the Stallions are leading, he isn't looking very happy. There's the pass completed over the middle to Tony Stewart, and he takes the ball up to the 50-yard line for a Calgary first down.
Good play selection by Doug Flutie. Start to getting some of those linebackers of the Baltimore Stallions, concentrating on him coming out of the backfield. It's going to open up the areas behind them for Sapunjas and Pitts to work in.
Well, trailing by 14, 7 minutes is still a lot of time for Doug Flutie, and Flutie will try and take advantage quickly. Intended for Danielson. Tracy Gravely defended against him. And that's the first time today they tried to go to Danielson.
First time that they brought Danielson into the game, actually. And Doug Flutie showed the great respect that he has for him and the confidence in him in a crucial situation to go to the young receiver.
Gravely made a good move to get up there and knock the ball away from him. It will be 2nd and 10 from the 50-yard line. Flutie operates out of the shotgun. Flutie is looking deep down the sidelines, and it's intercepted by Charles Anthony. Trying to go deep for Alan Pitts, and it's picked off by Charles Anthony with 6:35 remaining. And the Baltimore Stallions in front by 14 points. This 83rd Grey Cup Championship may be an historic day in more ways than one. The first time the game has ever been played in Regina, and it could be the first time that this trophy heads south of the 49.
Well, it's the Baltimore Stallions have played a very gallant game today, and if it continues that they can hold on to this lead, they certainly deserve to take it wherever they end up next year.
After the Anthony interception, 1st and 10, the give is to Pringle. And with Pringle running the football, this will take a lot of time off the clock, and time now is the big enemy of the Calgary Stampeders. 6:13 the time remaining as Pringle got the ball up to the 33-yard line.
Jeff Garcia, Dave Sapunjas, and then on the Baltimore side, there's the man, Alfred Payton. How you doing? Charles Anthony in the background.
Again, it's Pringle, and he gets a first down up to the 40-yard line. In the two games these teams have played in regular season, in 1994 and once this year, Don Matthews' team has been on the losing end. In 94, it was at Memorial Stadium in Baltimore. This year, on August the 15th, in Calgary.
Watch out, 2 of the Calgary defenders, both of them get outside, Knox and also McClanahan. That's what allows a good back like Mike Pringle to get it back inside and pick up that first down, keep possession.
Fake inside to Pringle. Dumped off. It was intended for Culver. It's incomplete. It will be 2nd and 10 Baltimore.
Well, this is going to be just a crucial down for the Calgary defense and for the Baltimore offense. Obviously, Calgary defense wants to stop them here, force Josh Miller to have to punt against this wind where it will allow Calgary and Doug Flutie to get good field position.
We talked about Matt Finlay being injured earlier, but he wasn't going to stay in the bench.
Not at all. I tell you what, if Matt Finlay is considering to be, this is his last game, you do not want to finish your career sitting on the bench.
Fake inside again. Pass over the middle, complete to Armstrong. Armstrong trying to get a first down, and it looks as though he might be a yard shy. Coleman, who was over helping the official spot the football directly in front of the Calgary bench. I'm sure there was a lot of other advice for the official coming from the bench.
Absolutely. Drag across the middle. Armstrong, there's right there. He gives about 3 yards back. Now he tries to gain it back up, tries to make a cut again, and you can see the feet slip out from under him, and a lot of that has to do with that tape. When they spat up underneath, they lose part of the rubber bottom and the traction that they have to the field.
2nd and 1 for Baltimore. 3rd and 1, pardon me, and there's movement at the line of scrimmage.
And 50-50 tickets and balloons.
Illegal procedure. Baltimore number 2. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
So with the procedure on 3rd and 1, the 5-yard penalty means that Baltimore will send out the punting unit.
Robert Drummond's lined up as a tight end number 2, just at the bottom of your screen. Tries to anticipate that snap count. What a crucial play and a penalty. Forces Baltimore, instead of picking up the 1st down, makes them punt.
4:10 is the time remaining. Good kick into the wind by Miller. Coleman fields it, penalty flag in the play. Coleman trying to make some people miss, and he is stopped at about the same spot he fielded the football after the 36-yard kick, but there will be a no yards call against Baltimore.
Coleman lost about 7 yards as he trying to give ground to get back to the wall. That great speed of the Baltimore coverage team did not allow him. As he said, they had only allowed
No yards. Baltimore number 9. 15-yard penalty, 1st down.
an average of 5 yards per kick return, punt return.
Wally Buono thought that Marvin Coleman might be a factor in this football game. He said, we've got a pretty good punt returner of our own. In talking about Chris Wright and how his team would handle the kicking game. And last year, Coleman set a Calgary club record, 181 punt return yards in a game against the BC Lions. This is Tony Stewart on the receiving end of the Flutie throw, forced out of bounds by Goodwin up at the 54-yard line.
About the only thing that I really don't understand about Doug Flutie's offense right now, he's going to go into the hurry-up, is why he's staying in the pocket so much right now. I would anticipate him moving that pocket and make that defense work a little bit harder. That's when the receivers seem to be the most effective, when they can buy a little extra time and find the open area downfield.
Hand off to Stewart as they look for the first down. It's going to be close. He had to get across the midfield stripe by about a yard.
His initial surge got him across the midfield stripe, but I don't know if he was able to get the ball and bounce forward to pick it up. From the spot there, it looks like it's going to be short about a half a yard.
3:28 is the time remaining with the clock stopped right now at Taylor Field. Baltimore leading by a score of 34-20. The Stampeders 3 times have etched their name on the Grey Cup. 1948, 1971, and most recently 1992. The Baltimore Stallions, only in their 2nd year in the Canadian Football League, have never won the Cherished Trophy.
But what a compliment to Jim Spiros and Don Matthews and that whole organization as far as starting this club last year, going to the Grey Cup, losing, but then coming back to it again in 1995.
Well, they did all the right things for an expansion team. Hiring coaches with CFL experience, players with CFL experience. Doug Flutie drives straight ahead and picks up a Calgary first down. Now 3:19 remaining. Wally Buono shouting to Doug Flutie to get this offense in gear as the seconds tick away, close to the 3-minute warning. Flutie, a sidearm throw out into the short flat to Tony Stewart, and he got to the line of scrimmage and not a whole bunch more. 2:57 is the time remaining here at Taylor Field in his 83rd Grey Cup game. The Baltimore Stallions 2:57 away from writing CFL history and becoming the first non-Canadian team to win the Grey Cup. Will the trophy remain in Baltimore for the year? The owner, Jim Spiros, wants to stay in Baltimore. The team will begin a season ticket drive on December the 4th, but Spiros has already met with officials in Houston about the possibility of moving the team into the Astrodome. Of course, you're aware that the Cleveland Browns are slated to move to Baltimore. Pass intended for Alan Pitts, over the middle, incomplete. And aside to the Cleveland story, Dan, The Baltimore Stallion players haven't lost their sense of humor. When the announcement was made that Cleveland might be moving to Memorial Stadium, one of the players, and they don't know which one it was, snuck into the locker room and put the Cleveland player names over all the Baltimore Stallion lockers.
Well, part of that is pretty devastating to think of that. And a couple of guys I talked to said, you know, it's a shame to think, you know, as we're away, somebody's moving into our home while we're gone.
Flutie's third down pass at the line of scrimmage is deflected by Alfred Payton, and the Baltimore Stallions will take over with 2:44 remaining. The fifth time that Flutie has had a pass knocked down at the line of scrimmage.
Alfred Payton, that is his 8th knockdown of the 95 season. He gets the rush against Rocco Romano. Romano opens up to the outside, allows Swack to go upfield. Unfortunately, Doug Flutie had dropped deep enough that he was throwing to the outside and right into the arms of Alfred Payton, and he comes up with a big defensive play on that third down.
Handoff, or fake handoff to Pringle. And Hand got back to the line of scrimmage. You know, we talked in the early stages of the telecast about Alfred Payton possibly being on a 4th straight losing team in a Grey Cup game. He said, you know what? If I lose this year, he said, I want to be back next year to try for number 5.
He's one of those great kind of competitors that has a heart. Nobody likes to lose. And if you can have somebody on your ball club that says, I can accept losing, I don't think you really want them on your ball club.
2nd and 10 for Baltimore. 2:19 remaining. This time the handoff to Pringle. He breaks the tackle, and Pringle has some open field. Coleman trying to bring him down and succeeds, but not before Pringle gets inside the 20-yard line. That's a 40-yard gallop by Mike Pringle and puts him over 100 rushing yards for the game.
Mike Pringle shows you his power and strength. He goes right through the tackle of Alondra Johnson. Usually the sure tackler that he is, Mike Pringle, with that great powerful leg strength and also upper body strength, ran right through that. A big blow to the Calgary defense.
127 rushing yards for the CFL rushing leader and most outstanding player. Pringle gets the ball again, and at the 15-yard line, he's straightened up by the Calgary defense with 1:45 remaining. Only once in 18 games when Pringle has rushed for 100 or more yards have the Baltimore Stallions lost. And this afternoon with Pringle over 130 yards now, it doesn't look as though the Stallions are going to lose.
Last year set the CFL record, 1,972 yards, 16 touchdowns. Broke the record of Willie Burton that used to be set with the Calgary Stampeders.
It's Pringle again, taking the ball down to the 11-yard line, tackled there by Will Johnson. 1:23 the time remaining. Calgary Stampeders, a 3rd consecutive regular season of 15 wins and 3 losses, came into this Grey Cup game so optimistic after defeating Hamilton in the Northern Division semifinal and then totally destroying the Edmonton Eskimos in the Northern Division final at home last Sunday. But this Baltimore Stallion defense was able to contain Doug Flutie and the passing attack, and 2 special team touchdowns have been the difference.
Well, the early part of the game, that Calgary defense did an excellent job containing Mike Pringle, forcing Tracy Ham, putting the ball into his hand. Then he just decided to beat him up by the pass, and then the big blows came on the special teams.
Carlos Huerta with a record-setting 53-yard field goal earlier, attempting a field goal of 18 yards. He puts it up, and it is good. 5 field goals today for Carlos Huerta. 7 field goals last week against the San Antonio Texans in the Southern Division final, the CFL record, and Calgary Stampeders pretty much know it's game, set, and match with 1:20 remaining.
Look on the face of Jim Spiros. He's worked extremely hard, and he has put a lot of money, but more importantly, he's put a lot of feelings and heart into really believing in the CFL. We need more owners like him in this league.
First and 10 Calgary, 35.
4 receivers wide to the right. Flutie over the middle, and he finds Alan Pitts for a first down, taking it to the 47-yard line. 1:15 the time remaining. Chris Johnson made the tackle. A 33-yard gain to Alan Pitts.
First and 10 Stampeders at the Stallion 47.
Some might be wondering why Flutie didn't go deep over the middle earlier in the ballgame.
Well, that could be, there's always going to be a lot of second guessing in the game when you get to this point.
Flutie throws deep over to the far side of the field for Stewart. Stewart was all alone, but Flutie couldn't get the ball to him.
A lot of pressure again. Alfred Payton and Grant Carter doing a great job getting up the field, being able to put a lot of pressure on both Bruce Breton and Rocco Romano. Watch Carter. Gets up in the face, keeps working the hands, then he uses the speed to get around, makes some contact with Doug Flutie just as he starts to release the ball.
2nd and 10. 1:02 the time remaining. 3 receivers wide left this time. Flutie for Alan Pitts, and he can't hang on. He was open. He found the hole down at the 25-yard line, but couldn't pull the pass in.
Ken Vincent playing in a deep zone. May have just got right into the vision of Alan Pitts, or possibly even got his hands on the ball.
Mike Pringle, the leading rusher in this ball game, the leading rusher on the season. Will he be in Baltimore next year? He's playing out his option.
Well, he is playing out his option. In the last 2 years, his production and what he has shown, you know, may entitle him to get a trip to go try it out in the NFL somewhere.
4 receivers wide to the left. On 3rd down. Flutie over the middle. He's got Sapunjas open. Sapunjas takes it inside the 20-yard line. 50 seconds remaining. A 29-yard gain on the pass from Doug Flutie to Dave Sapunjas. Flutie sends 4 receivers wide left.
All the praise is over here.
Operating out of the shotgun. 1st and 10 Calgary. The ball is at the Baltimore 18-yard line. Flutie for Williams, and Williams with his first catch of the game has a first down at the 5-yard line.
This Baltimore team, as we mentioned earlier at the onset of this game, came in here with purpose. They were focused. That's got to be a linebacker, I think, with eyes like that.
A lineman.
Well, I know that, but the eyes are all the same. That's Mike Withicombe, the offensive lineman, most outstanding offensive lineman in the Canadian Football League. But as I said, Baltimore came in here with purpose after coming so close to tasting from the cup last year.
Flutie for Vaughn, and he could not hang on. He may have been trying to concentrate on keeping his feet in bounds and stay inside the flag, and in the process lost his concentration in the flight of the ball and dropped it. 23 seconds remaining. Doug Flutie and the Calgary Stampeders just trying to make things a little more respectable. There's no doubt about where the Grey Cup is headed in 23 seconds.
When there's no tomorrow, it doesn't matter whether you get beat by 1 point or 100 points. You still get beat.
Flutie looking into the end zone. It falls short of the target with 18 seconds remaining. Well, Don Matthews got doused by his teammates, not unexpectedly.
And one of his assistant coaches, Flip, comes in there and covers him up to make sure that's called job security. Flip is guaranteed to keep that linebacker special teams job. Darryl Edrawlin.
He saw that Sharper Donish had the water bucket ready to douse the head man, and he pulled the hood of his parka over his head just at the last second. Flutie looks to the end zone. He's flushed out of there. Now will throw incomplete. It was intended for Alan Pitts. And the Calgary Stampeders give up the ball on downs with 9 seconds remaining. So the Baltimore Stallions are champions of the Canadian Football League for 1995, as Jim Spiros, the owner, accepts congratulations. Don Matthews.
That's Marty Long, the defensive line coach, and he was just hugging and giving a kiss too. Look at these guys. Tell you what, it's an exciting bunch of guys over there, and they deserve it.
For Don Matthews, his second win as a head coach, 5 times as an assistant coach with the Edmonton Eskimos. He was on a Grey Cup winner. He won the trophy in 1985 with the BC Lions, and he will take it back to Baltimore in 1995. A decade has passed since he last sipped champagne from the Grey Cup. But this has been a very satisfying season for the Baltimore Stallions. Their 13th consecutive win. They finished the year with 10 regular season wins, 2 postseason playoff wins, and now this Grey Cup triumph, and they celebrate as Grey Cup champions of 1995, and one of the happiest of all, Jim Spiros, the owner of the football team.
Well, I think you hit the nail right on the head when you said when that man decided to build a franchise, he did it right by hiring that guy first. That guy hired CFL veteran coaches to come in and be his assistants, and they went out and got the best CFL veteran players that were available as far as free agents were concerned, and then they brought in some young kids that could learn from the veterans.
Don Matthews was the head coach in Saskatchewan from 91 to 93 before moving to Baltimore to start up the expansion franchise, and he returns to Taylor Field for his Grey Cup triumph, this 1995 Grey Cup game. And Jim Spiros and Don Matthews busy accepting congratulations. Many of the spectators, 52,564, pouring out onto the playing field at Taylor Field. This was a pro-Calgary crowd, but it was a Baltimore Stallion victory by a score of 37-20. Steve?
What's going on? What's going on?
I've got Mike Pringle with me. I'm the Grey Cup champion, Baltimore Stallions. Mike, how does it feel?
Oh, it feels great. Everybody came out to play. Calgary concentrated on Mike Pringle and forgot about the rest of the guys on the team.
Mike, was there ever a doubt that the second trip to the Grey Cup wouldn't work?
Oh, never. There was no reason that we should have lost another game after we lost to the Memphis Mad Dogs way back in the early part of the season. Everybody stayed focused. Everybody believed, and there was nobody that was going to beat us. Not today.
Don, up to you.
Well, that game against the Memphis Mad Dogs, the last time that the Baltimore Stallions were beaten, that was on August the 25th. Since then, a 13-game winning streak for Don Matthews and company culminated in this Grey Cup triumph at Taylor Field in Regina. Matthews doesn't look all that excited for a guy who's just won the Grey Cup, does he?
I don't believe that. He's excited. He's like that duck right on the water. Looks very calm, but underneath, those feet are just paddling, and that heart is just going right now. He is a very intense human being.
And you know, Tracy Ham, in the third quarter, put together a drive that he capped with a run into the end zone that really was the difference in this football game, but it was his passing attack and his ability to throw that put them in position for him to run for the winning touchdown.
It really did, and I feel good for Tracy Ham in the sense that he had always had a knock against him that he couldn't win the big game, and today he came and he showed up and he won it.
And Tracy Ham also had an interesting comment when discussing this Grey Cup game and his third starting assignment. He said, the Grey Cup game isn't all-consuming. He said, I want to win desperately, but if we don't win, it isn't the end of the world.
Tracy's very political sometimes. You don't believe that. Tracy Ham is as tough and as strong a competitor as you want to find in this league. Today, he reaped the benefits of maybe a couple of those other losses and the maturity that has grown since that time.
Well, he started his CFL career in Edmonton, and he was the third stringer behind a couple of pretty solid quarterbacks, Matt Dunnigan and Damon Allen, before he got his chance to be #1 man.
Well, matter of fact, we talked about that 87 Grey Cup in Vancouver against Toronto. They knocked Matt Dunnigan out. Damon Allen came in, was really the hero of that game. Tracy Ham did not get off the bench.
The RCMP are bringing the Grey Cup out to the present station stage on the sidelines at Taylor Field, as Don Matthews and the Baltimore Stallion players are moving into position to accept this trophy.
And what an ideal place for a first-time Grey Cup winner, the Baltimore Stallions, to come and see the kind of enthusiasm and support from Saskatchewan.
Players accepting congratulations from the owner of the football team, Jim Spiros. And here comes the Grey Cup that came most recently to Taylor Field in 1989 with the victory by the Rough Riders over the Hamilton Ticats in what many people will describe as the most exciting Grey Cup game ever. I know, Dan Kepley, that you would probably suggest those 5 in a row by the Edmonton Eskimos were every bit as good.
Well, they were good in the right, and as you looked at them collectively, 5 in a row is a pretty awesome thing to accomplish. But that excitement that happened in '89, it can only be equaled by the excitement of winning your very first one.
And this is the first one for the Baltimore Stallions as they are getting set to accept the Grey Cup down at field level.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now my great pleasure to ask the Commissioner of the Canadian Football League, Larry Smith, to present the Grey Cup for 1995 to the Baltimore Stallions. Mr. Commissioner.
Jim Spiros, Don Matthew, team captains, congratulations to the Baltimore Stallions, winner of the 1995 Grey Cup. Way to go. Let's go. Bring a cup over here. Let's go. Here we go. Don, Jim, captains, here we go. Congratulations for winning the Grey Cup. Jim, you guys played hard, you played like pros, and you really conducted yourselves as true gentlemen. Congratulations.
Thank you, Larry. I want to say this. Don Matthews, the coaching staff, the players, they're the reason we're here. They're the champions. We're #1, Grey Cup first time ever.
So the Baltimore Stallions came to Regina riding a 12-game win streak. They've pushed it to 13, and as a result, the Stallions have the silverware, the Grey Cup. They've also become the first team in CFL history to win 18 games in a season, but no win in the Stallions' existence is bigger than this one. Quickly, Ron Lancaster, how do they do it?
How do they do it? Flutie put the score in the third quarter, and they turned around, took the momentum right away when Tracy Ham put the ball in the end zone on the other way. That was just about all she wrote.